morning everyone. In this class we will be studying regarding the pregnancy, embryonic development, parturition as well as the lactation. So firstly let us study regarding the pregnancy as well as the embryonic development. In the previous class we have studied regarding the implantation. So the implantation means the attachment of the blastocyst to the endometrial wall. So we have also seen the structure of a blastocyst. So it consists of two layers of blastomeres. It means that blastomeres are arranged into two layers. The outer layer of this blastomeres is called as a trophoblast. Inner to this are the inner cell mass, and the cavity which is present inside the blastocyst is a blastocyst. So blastocele is a cavity which is filled with a nutritive tissue, and this nutritive tissue is either from the uterine wall or it is from the endometrial wall. So this is what we have studied in the previous class, and this blastocyst is now implanted in the endometrial wall. So what happens after the implantation? That is, soon after the implantation we have seen that only some of the trophoblast cells which are attached to the inner cell mass, and these cells are called as a Rauber cell. Rauber cells, the cells of the trophoblast which are attached to the inner cell mass, they are called as a Rauber cells. So soon after the implantation, what happens is they are now going to form a finger-like projections. So they are going to form a finger-like projections. So this finger-like projection is termed as a chorionic villi. So it is termed as a chorionic villi, or we can just call it as a placental villi. So the finger-like projections which are going to appear from the Rauber cells, they are called as a placental villi or the chorionic villi. So this chorionic villi is surrounded by a uterine tissue as well as the maternal blood. So it is surrounded by a maternal tissue and the maternal blood and uterine tissue. So this uterine tissue and the chorionic villi, so they are going to get interdigitated, means they are going to fix together and they are going to form a functional and structural unit between the fetus and the maternal body. So that structural and functional unit or the physiological connection between the fetus and the maternal body is termed as a placenta. So this is going to further form into a placenta. Right? So what is the main function of this placenta is that, so this placenta is going to provide the oxygen, and it is going to provide the oxygen as well as the nutrients to the developing embryo. And in turn, it is also going to remove the waste or the excretory products and the carbon dioxide from the fetus. Right? So this placenta is going to attach to the embryo with the help of a cord which is called as the umbilical cord. So placenta is also going to act as an endocrine tissue, as it is going to produce several number of hormones, and the main ones are the HCG, which is a human chorionic gonadotropin, HPL, human placental lactogen, estrogen, and progestogen. So the placenta is also called as the endocrine tissue, as it is going to produce several number of hormones, and the main ones are the human chorionic gonadotropin, that is HCG, human placental lactogen, that is HPL, estrogen and progestogen. Along with that, the one more hormone is also released during the pregnancy, that is a relaxin, that is released from the ovary. So the ovary is also going to release one more hormone during the pregnancy, that is relaxin. So it is very important to note that the HCG HPL as well as the relaxin. So these are found only in the woman during the pregnancy, right? So this is regarding the placenta, and it is also going to act as a endocrine tissue. So let us see here. The trophoblast cells, that is the Rauber cells, which are attached to the inner cell mass. So they are going to develop a finger-like projections which are called as a chorionic villi. So this chorionic villi is surrounded by a maternal blood and the uterine tissue. So this uterine tissue is going to get interdigitated with a chorionic villi. So they are going together, they are going to form a structure which is a structural and functional unit between the fetus as well as the maternal body, and it is termed as a placenta. So this placenta, it is going to provide the oxygen as well as the nutrients to the developing fetus, and in turn it is also going to help in the removal of the carbon dioxide and waste or the excretory products from the fetus. So this placenta is further attached, or it is further connected to the embryo with the help of a umbilical cord. So placenta is also going to work as an endocrine tissue, as it is going to produce a large number of hormones. Among them, the important ones are the human chorionic gonadotropin, human placental lactogen, estrogen and progestogens. So along with these hormones, there are also one more hormone which is released by the ovary during the relaxin. During the pregnancy, that is the relaxin. So it is important to know that the HCG, HPL and the relaxin are the hormones which are found in the human, formed in the woman only during her pregnancy. So not only these hormones, along with these hormones, the other hormones, that is such as the progesterone, estrogen, prolactin, thyroxine, cortisol. So these are the hormones which are going to increase several folds in the maternal body. So why it is necessary for these hormones to get increased, or the increased level of secretion of these hormones, is that so they are going to support the growth of the fetus, as well as they are going to maintain the metabolic changes in the mother, and they are going to maintain the pregnancy. So the hormones are going to increase in several folds in the maternal body. The important ones are the progestogens, estrogens, prolactin, thyroxine and the cortisol. So as they are very responsible for the supporting the growth of the fetus, for the metabolic changes in the mother, as well as they are going to help in maintaining the pregnancy. So after that, this is regarding the trophoblast. So then coming to the inner cell mass. As I had said before, this inner cell mass is further developed into the embryo. So this inner cell mass is now converted into 3 germ layers. So now they are converted into 3 germ layers. So the conversion of the inner cell mass into the 3 germ layers is termed as a gastrulation, and the cell is called as a gastrula. So which are these 3 germ layers? Means that is the outer ectoderm and the inner endoderm. So in between these there is a one more germ layer which is formed, which is called as a mesoderm. So usually the inner cell mass is now transformed into the 3 germ layers, that is ectoderm, mesoderm as well as the endoderm. So these 3 layers are responsible for the development of all types of tissue and organs in a human body, right? So it is also important to note that this inner cell mass consists of cells which are usually termed as a stem cells. So stem cells are nothing but the cells which are having the potency to develop all the types of tissues and organs in the human body, right? So this is regarding the pregnancy. So these are the changes that we are going to see in the pregnancy. That is, the trophoblast is getting the cells which are attached to the cell mass, that is a Rauber cells. They are going to form a chorionic villi. So this chorionic villi along with the uterine tissue, it is going to form a placenta. So that placenta is attached from the fetus to the maternal body, and from the trophoblast to the inner to the embryo there is a umbilical cord which is going to connect to the fetus and the placenta, right? So this placenta is going to work as an endocrine tissue, as it is going to produce several hormones. Along with that, the other hormones are also going to increase in the levels of secretion, so that they are going to maintain the growth of the fetus as well as they maintain the pregnancy, right? After that, the inner cell mass is converted into 3 germ layers. The process is termed as a gastrulation, and the cell stage is called as a gastrula stage, which means that the embryonic development of the human baby consists of 3 stages. The first is the morula, second comes the blastula, and third is the gastrula. So these 3 germ layers are going to give rise to the various tissues and organs which are present in the which are going to be developed by the embryo. So now let us see what happens, what are the various stages of the embryonic development. Right. So the human pregnancy is going to last for 9 months, and we'll see what are the embryonic development at the various stages of the pregnancy. So by the end of the first month, right? So that is after first month of pregnancy, heart is formed. After the first month of pregnancy, the heart is formed, and by listening to the sound of the heartbeat, so one can feel or one can confirm the pregnancy. So by the end of the second month, so by the end of second month, the limbs and the digits are formed. Right? So by the end of the third month, or it is also called as a first trimester, or we can just say it as after the completion of the 12 weeks of pregnancy. So all the major organ systems are formed. Major organ systems, especially the limbs, example limbs and external genital organs are well developed. Right? Then by the 5th month, or at the 5th month, we can see the first movement and appearance of hair on the head. By the end of 6th month, so here body is covered by fine hairs, eyelids are separated, and eyelashes are formed. So by the end of the 9th month, so these are the various stages of pregnancy. It is the various embryonic development during the various stages of the pregnancy. So after the first month of pregnancy, so we can see that the heart is formed, right? So why the heart is formed first means to pump the blood to all the different developing organs. So by listening to the heartbeat, so we can confirm the pregnancy, or we can feel the pregnancy, that is after the first month. So by the end of the second month, so there is a formation of the limbs as well as the digits. So the limbs and digits are formed by the end of the second month. So by the end of the third month, so this is usually called as the first trimester, or that is after the 12 weeks. So there is a formation of a major organ system. So the major organ systems are formed by the end of the third month. So usually these are the limbs as well as the external genital organs are well developed by the end of the third trimester. So now at the 5th month, So they can feel the first movement. So the first movement of the embryo is done at the 5th month, and we can also see the appearance of the small fine hairs over the head. So by the end of the 6th month, that is the end of the 24 weeks or the second trimester, so the whole body of the baby is covered with the fine hairs, as well as so the eyelids are separated and the eyelashes will start getting formed. So by the end of the 9th month, the fetus is fully developed and it is ready for the parturition. Right? So these are the embryonic development at the various stages of the pregnancy. So now let us study regarding the parturition as well as the lactation. Okay, so now let us study regarding the parturition and the lactation. So what I mean by this parturition means it is the expulsion of the fully formed fetus after the gestation period from the mother's body is termed as a parturition. It means that the expulsion of the fully formed fetus from the maternal body after the completion of the gestation period. So we also know that if it is termed or if it is expelled out before the completion of the gestation period, so it is not termed as a parturition, but it is termed as a abortion, right? So that's why parturition means it is the expulsion after the complete development and the complete gestation period. So that is termed as a parturition. So how does this parturition occurs means after the completion means after the complete development of the fetus, so the completely developed fetus and the placenta, so they are going to release a factor which is called as a fetal ejection factor. So this fetal ejection factor is released from the fully developed fetus and the placenta. So this is going to stimulate the mild contraction in the maternal body. So this is going to stimulate and form the fetal ejection reflex, or it is going to stimulate the mild contraction. So after the completion or after the complete development of the fetus, the fully developed fetus and the placenta together they are going to release a factor which is called as a fetal ejection factor. So this fetal ejection factor is going to reach the maternal blood and it is going to stimulate the mild contraction in the maternal body. So this mild contraction is usually termed as a fetal ejection reflex. So this is called as a fetal ejection reflex. So this fetal ejection reflex is now going to act on the maternal pituitary gland and it is going to act on the maternal pituitary gland to release the hormone, that is oxytocin. So this is usually called as a birth hormone. So in turn again this oxytocin is going to act on the uterine muscles and it is going to form a strong, so this oxytocin is going to act on uterine muscles and cause strong contractions. So this strong contraction will again stimulate the release of the oxytocin, right? So this will continue until the stronger and stronger contractions are resulted. So let us see here. So once after the gestation period, so now the fetus is fully developed and this fully developed fetus along with the placenta, it is going to release a factor which is called as a fetal ejection factor. So this fetal ejection factor is going to reach the maternal blood and it is going to stimulate a mild contraction. So this mild contraction is nothing but the fetal ejection reflex. So what is this fetal ejection reflex means? The signals which are given by the fully developed fetus and the placenta that are going to result in a mild contraction is called as a fetal ejection reflex. So this fetal ejection reflex is now going to stimulate the maternal pituitary gland to release the oxytocin. So this oxytocin hormone is usually called as a birth hormone. So this oxytocin is going to act on the uterine muscles and it is going to help in the contraction of the uterine muscles. So as the uterine muscles are contracted, so again it is going to stimulate the release of more and more oxytocin. So as the oxytocin is released more, the contraction will get stronger and stronger. So this continuous process, is continued until the expulsion of the baby outside the uterus, right? So this entire thing is termed as a parturition, right? So the pain is now, the contractions is nothing but the labor pain, right? So the oxytocin is going to act on the uterine muscles and uterine muscles are going to contract. So this contraction of the uterine muscles is again stimulating the release of the oxytocin, right? So this process is going to continue until there is a expulsion of the baby, and this process is nothing but the parturition. Right? So this is nothing but the parturition. Right? So now let us study regarding the lactation. Okay. So now coming to the lactation, which is the last part of this chapter. So lactation, the process of formation, secretion and ejection of the milk from the mammary gland is termed as a lactation, right? So the mammary glands will start differentiating right from the pregnancy and it is going to secrete the milk towards the end of the pregnancy, right? So this process is termed as a lactation. So during the lactation, what happens is, at the initial stage, the milk is called as a colostrum. So the milk which is secreted during the initial period of lactation is called as a colostrum. So this colostrum is rich in the antibodies, and these antibodies are required for the, so these antibodies are very necessary for the babies to provide the resistance, right? So the milk which is secreted in the initial days is called as a colostrum. This colostrum consists of antibodies, so that are very necessary for the baby to develop the resistance, right? And also the doctors are going to recommend the lactation for few days for the fetal growth. Means it is very important for the baby or the baby to be healthy. So this is regarding the lactation, right? So with this, the human reproduction chapter is completed, and in our next video we will be starting regarding the third chapter. So the fourth chapter, that is the reproductive health. Thank you.